Why does power need a reason? When the verdict is already written in the blood, why the performance of a trial? Perhaps the excuse is not for the victim at all. Perhaps it is the final, desperate ritual of the aggressor, a fragile shield built to silence the faint, echoing judgment of their own soul. We construct elaborate theaters of justification, not for the condemned, but for ourselves, so that we may look upon the face of our own hunger and call it justice. In the cracked concrete basin of a long-dead river, where the skeletal remains of an iron bridge clawed at a perpetually grey sky, a small flock huddled for shelter. The air, thick with the ghosts of industry, tasted of metal and decay. Here, in this world of rust and ruin, there was a self-appointed law. He was a wolf, but he called himself the Warden. He moved with a heavy, deliberate gait, his paws making no sound on the broken ground, his presence a zone of absolute silence. He came upon a lamb. She had wandered a few feet from the anxious huddle, not from recklessness, but from a quiet curiosity about a sliver of sunlight breaking through the clouds. Her fleece was a brilliant, impossible white against the ochre dust, a beacon of life in a landscape of endings. The Warden stopped, his shadow falling over her like a closing door. The tiny spot of sun vanished. "You stand accused." His voice was a low growl, like stone grinding against stone deep within the earth. The lamb looked up, her eyes clear and unafraid. "Accused of what, Warden?" "A year ago," the Warden began, his tone heavy with rehearsed grievance, "your kind spoke ill of my rule. You slandered my name. You spread dissent that weakened the very order that protects you." The lamb's reply was not a bleat, but a sound as pure and clear as chilled water. "A year ago, Warden, the world had not yet known me. I was less than a dream in my mother's heart. My first breath was drawn with the coming of this last cold season." A flicker of something, annoyance, confusion, crossed the Warden's features. The script was failing. He shifted his weight, the dust swirling around his powerful legs. "Then you graze on my territory," he declared, his voice hardening. "This dust, this brittle grass, these ruins, they are all under my protection. They are mine. You steal sustenance from my domain." "I have eaten nothing from this ground, Warden," she replied, her gaze unwavering. "The only nourishment I have ever known is my mother's milk. My mouth has not yet learned the shape of grass, and my stomach has not yet known the dust." Each logical, quiet answer was not a defense, but an unraveling of the Warden's fragile authority. His manufactured reality was crumbling before the simple, devastating power of the truth. He grew more desperate, the predator beneath the veneer of the judge beginning to stir. He pointed a black claw toward a shimmering, oil-slick puddle trapped in a depression in the concrete. "The water, then," he snarled. "You drink from my spring. You foul my reservoir with your presence." "Warden," she said, her calm voice a stark contrast to his rising fury, "my thirst is quenched at my mother's side. I have never knelt to drink from the broken world. I do not know its taste." A long, heavy silence descended upon the basin, filled only by the mournful wind whistling through the iron bones of the dead bridge. The Warden was cornered, not by force, but by flawless reason. His justifications, the flimsy architecture of his righteousness, had turned to dust at his feet. He was left with nothing but what he had always been, an appetite and the power to satisfy it. He looked at the lamb, and for a single, terrifying moment, what she saw in his yellow eyes was not malice, but a vast, terrifying emptiness. It was the hollow space where a conscience should have been. The performance was over. "It does not matter," the Warden finally rasped, the manufactured authority gone from his voice, replaced by something ancient and absolute. "An account must be settled. A debt is owed. I have declared it so." He took a step forward, his form seeming to swell, to consume the very air around him. "And I," he concluded, each word a final, unappealable judgment, "am not going without my dinner." The movement was too fast to see. A blur of grey, a flash of white, and a sudden, violent stain that seeped instantly into the rust-colored earth. The Warden's theater of accusation was never about discovering the truth. It was a necessary, internal ritual of self-absolution. we witness this hollow pageantry in our own world, in the carefully worded termination letter that speaks of a restructuring, in the legal jargon that sanitizes conquest, in the bureaucratic memo that explains away profound injustice. These are the modern fables of the wolf. Power that feels the need to perform righteousness is the most dangerous of all, for it has already judged you guilty. It only seeks a plausible narrative to record in its ledgers. In such a system, innocence and reason cease to be virtues. They become provocations, liabilities that must be silenced, not because they are wrong, but because their very existence exposes the fundamental lie upon which that power is built. When you find yourself in a courtroom where the judge is also the executioner, know that your defense is not being heard, it is merely being recorded as part of the proceedings. The most profound tyranny is not that which simply crushes you, but that which demands you participate in the pageant of your own undoing. Do not mistake the offering of a reason for the presence of reason itself. This is Filiarium. Seek the wisdom that endures.